This is Professor Reed bringing you part 2 of Chapter 6, Factoring Polynomials, Section 1, Greatest Common Factor. These examples we're going to look at in this video is going to cover finding the GCF with numbers and variables combined. So we have 20x squared y squared, and we have 6xy to the third. If we want to find the GCF between the two numbers and variables, you got to find the GCF between the numbers, then you have to find the GCF between the variables, and then you put the two together. So the GCF of 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. The GCF of x is x times x. The GCF of y is y times y. So likewise with 6xy, the GCF of 6 is 2 times 3, gonna give me 6. And then we got times x, then we have times y times y times y. So now we identify what they have alike. If we look at it, we see that they both have a 2. Okay? So then we see that we only have 1 2 alike. Then we have 1 x alike. And then we have a y times y. Or it'll be 2xy to the second. So to find the GCF between 20x squared y squared and 6xy to the third, the GCF is going to be 2 times x times y, or you can write it as 2xy to the second. Likewise, the next objective of this section is asking you to factoring out the GCF. So when we look at this, we're factoring out because we're now connecting the two with a symbol, plus sign. So we look and see that we have a 5a and a b, and then we have a 10 and an 8. So then you think about the factors of 5 and 10, which in this case will be 5. You notice that they both have an a in common, but we only have one b in common here. So what you would do is you'll have your 5a, and then you'll say times b. You'll factor it out. Plus, if you notice, this will be 5a times 2. Because 5 times 2 is 10 and then 8. So if you notice what they have alike is a 5a. So you factor out the 5a and put everything else in the parentheses to add it up. So your answer when you factor out 5ab plus 10a will be 5a parentheses b is left plus the 2. And so if you do it in the reverse to multiply back out, you would then get your number. So then you're saying 5ab gonna give me 5ab. Plus 5 times 2 is 10, 8. So you notice we got back our answer. Okay? So that is how you factor out the GCF. Now, one more example. What if it asks you, or what do you do when your directions ask you to factor by grouping? Alright, and this time they gave you 15x to the third minus 10x squared plus 6x minus 4. Alright, now when it says factor by grouping, it means to do just that. You're going to group the two together. So if I group parentheses around this one, group parentheses around this one, keep my plus sign in the center, then I'm looking at what they have alike. So my 15x and my 15x to the third, my 10x squared, they both have a 5 because 15 and 10 both have a 5 in common. And then remember, it is your highest exponent. So we're going to factor out the 5x squared. Then we're going to keep in parentheses what's left. 3x, and then what we have here, minus 2. Close it up. Then you're going to do the same on the other side. You're going to see what I have, what you're going to factor out what you have alike. In this case, you got a 6, you have a 4. You notice when you get the greatest common factor between 4 and 6, it is 2. So you're going to pull your 2 out. And then you're going to see what you have left in common. 2 going to 3x, and then 2 going minus 2. And so then when you notice, when you factor out, now you see what you have. You see that, hey, now in parentheses, I have a 3x minus 2 and a 3x minus 2. That is what I have in common now. So since I have them two in common, my final answer would be 3x minus 2 times 5x squared plus 2. And that is how you factor by grouping. This is Professor Reed, keeping math simple. Have a great rest of the day.